All right, this is the Common Ground podcast.
Yeah, so this is going to be a podcast centered around general wellness and how it pertains to fitness, nutrition, mindset, maybe smart financial decisions and personal growth. So my name is Elijah Rodriguez.
I'm Adam Trevino.
Yeah, so I'm 24 years old. Just graduated from college about a year ago.
We're both 24.
Yeah,
right
both
now.
24. Yeah. Just kind of trying to figure out life, and we're looking at different things that just to be better every day.
This first episode is mainly going to be about mindset growth goals. This is episode 1. The current date is March 31st, 2020. And as you may know, or are seeing this current video right now, we are stuck in a situation where we're all sheltered in place. We're at home under this coronavirus. So as you can see here, we are practicing social distancing, and if you can't see, if you're just listening to the audio, we are sitting apart from each other. This is numero uno right now.
First one ever.
First one ever. We're just gonna go right into it. So mindset growth. So we always want to try to figure out ways to appease our mind. I think it's important, especially right now, as we are stuck in our current situation. Lots of people are stuck inside, not knowing what to do.
It's kind of a mental thing at this point. People don't know what to do. Some are thriving because they're homebodies, and some aren't.
Yeah.
That's
Introverts, extroverts.
Yeah. People that go out every day or used to interacting with people are probably in their minds.
Yeah.
But there are ways to handle it. I think
sure.
some people don't know how. That's a lot. That's a lot.
Yeah. I think a lot of people are, especially amongst younger people who are stuck inside and are typically through the routine of going and seeing people all the time. Of course, if you already work from home, or most of your time is spent at home, if you have kids, or you're just trying to save money and you're not going out as much, I think it's okay for right now. But even for young people trying to figure out their financials or trying to figure out ways to, again, appease their mind, I think it's worth talking about, especially right now. But this applies to even, hopefully after this thing ends, like, this can be an applicable situation, applicable information that we can openly discuss.
Right. No, I think a big thing right now is that people are, consuming tons of content, whether it's on Netflix, Hulu. They're just streaming everything.
Definitely.
That's all. You go on social media, it's all Netflix this, and then Disney Plus this. It's people are just consuming mass amounts of information.
And if it's not like work at home and reading emails, like
Twitter is absolutely just. I can't even go.
Yeah, I know.
Because it's the same thing. Quarantine jokes and Netflix. And
memes.
Stupid stuff.
Yeah.
So the idea is, people are going insane because they wake up in the morning, especially college and high school students who have class minimum amounts of the day.
Uh-huh.
They wake up, they go to class or do homework, and then they sit on the couch and watch TV. And that's the first way to absolutely lose your mind, because that'll last you for like 2 days. Yeah, you get 2 days of break.
Yeah.
And then you're gonna do that every day, you lose your mind, because you're gonna run out of things to watch. That's the first thing. You're running out of things to watch, and then what?
Before you know it, everyone's losing them.
Everyone's losing their minds, or they're surfing on Twitter the same 20 tweets.
No, honestly, if you really break down, if you're seriously breaking down the amount of time someone sits and puts their eyeballs in front of a screen, think about it. You're on your Zoom, you're on your phone, people on your emails. What do you do after you're done with your emails? You go for what people might walk around for a bit, get some food, go back in front of the fucking television, right?
Yeah.
So.
Or they go back, or they go on their screens. The screen times are probably out the roof right now.
Yeah.
What's one thing to do other than sit and look at a screen?
So that's where this all really just kicks in. As people who are currently experiencing this situation, I think it's important to talk about it.
Yeah. No. One thing that I've done, and this is kind of for me, being I'm accustomed to going into an office every day. Granted, I hated it.
And to back this kind of information up, like, we both are currently working day jobs, and right now he is currently Elijah is working from home. I have been put on unpaid leave which is a furlough. Basically, I'm still working for that company, but as of right now, at this current time of this podcast,
even furlough.
I'm furlough. Yeah. So we're getting two perspectives on things that kind of appease our minds, and
yeah, no, for sure. So I mean, definitely one thing. You know, the idea of working from home is something that everybody really wants to do, and it's
until it
awesome.
actually
It's more than like you're working from home is like you're working from home, but a lot of people take advantage of the situation. They go off and do things. Now you're physically stuck working at home. You don't know what to do yourself.
Yeah, for sure.
And I mean, I think that's tough for a lot of people to do, considering that you're used to personal interaction and talking to people. Working from home is tough. When you're in four walls, basically, especially like my apartment is pretty small.
Yeah.
So, you know, one thing for me, you know, I made it a point to create a routine for myself, whether I needed it or not, to ensure that I didn't lose my mind while I'm here. You know, and, you know, for me, one thing I did is I kind of made myself a checklist with this app called To Do. I'm not sponsored by any means. I actually got it from a guy named Matt Diavella, who you should check out his page. He has a lot of interesting information.
But it's just called To Do, like T-O.
Yeah, it's called TEUXDEUX. It's called To Do.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So not just like T-O and then space and then
No,
D-O.
It's TEUXDEUX. To Do. It's real fancy.
Gotcha.
It's stupid.
Okay.
But anyway.
Okay, that's
But
important.
the idea is that
I wouldn't have found it.
Believe me, because you know what's his name told me about. I watched the video on it.
Yeah.
And I was like To Do, couldn't find it. I had to go to the description and find it.
If you wouldn't have told me that information,
I wouldn't know either.
Like,
Yeah.
done.
Anyway, the point is, it is a checklist app, and it lets you plan out your days, and it's kind of like just a digital checklist, and that works for me. If you want to write it down on a whiteboard or put it on a piece of paper that you look at every day, that's another thing. But that just helps me know, okay, tomorrow I have to get these things done, rather than just being lazy and rolling out of bed and just kind of taking the day as it comes.
Sure.
Yeah, you check stuff off your list. You know, if you need to do stuff for work, kind of do that, prior towards that. And then, you know, if there's personal things you want to get done, if you want to, you know, read 2 chapters a day, do that. If you want to get outside for more than 10 minutes, you know, write that down and get those things done to have some meaning to your day, basically.
Yeah. Yeah, I think creating a routine. For someone like me, who is not currently working, working at my day job. So just a little bit of background about me. I do fitness training. I just earned my certification for strength and conditioning. So I do teach online and as well as in person. For at least for me, I do try to keep a routine as well. I don't think it's a time for me to sleep in till noon.
No way.
Waste my day. I'm still trying to be proactive about things that I'm doing every single day. As someone that is currently unemployed at my day job, I do still exercise. I still have access to my gym. I do bring Elijah with me. Of course, we're definitely taking the necessary precautions to keep safe. But you know, it's important for someone in my position as well to keep a routine, because I mean, of course, it's important to have relaxation, but this isn't the time to take off and stop doing work.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. A lot of people have like kind of, and I'm not speaking because I haven't been put in your shoes. I don't know what it's like to be furloughed. Unfortunately, but
yeah,
you know, a lot of people kind of took that, and it kind of probably killed a lot of motivation to do a lot of things. Or I'm just looking at a lot of. There's just not a lot of reasons. People are freaking out,
right,
and they don't know what to do. And
I think
it is a scary time.
Yeah, it is a scary time, and I think it's important. If you don't know, and this is just an off-topic thing, but if you don't know how to take care of yourself during this unemployment time, there are other things other than just the mindset of this topic that we're going over to do. You have your resources online to learn about unemployment, how to file for it, how to take care of yourself, keep your financials, and also look for other possibilities of work, which we'll get into later. But the internet's there. It's there for you to research and learn how to do those things. So, for example, I was talking to one of my buddies, and he doesn't even want to file for unemployment right now. He doesn't know how.
Oh shit.
He doesn't know how, and I think that's something that's important, because
I think for young people, that's a big thing.
Yeah. Okay. We
People
just
you shouldn't even think about. You don't even.
You don't think about these situations happening, and it happens.
Yeah.
And this also occurs with something that would happen with having emergency procedures set up for yourself. So, for instance, for example, would be like, taking yourself for having an emergency fund set up, 36 months of your financials saved in your bank, as well as being aware of how to do things like file for unemployment. So where do you go for those things? Like Google. It's as simple as that. As simple as that. So I even sat there. I live with my parents right now. I asked them, how do I do this?
Yeah.
I have no idea how to do this. Next thing you know, look it up.
Look it up. Wild,
yeah, we don't know how to do those things, and I think it's important that being in this situation, I think we should talk about it.
No, yeah.
Along with of course the main topic.
I guarantee more people have been furloughed that we don't even know about.
Yeah, and don't know how to file for an unemployment.
I wouldn't know.
And they're going to take the $1,200 check, and then boom, that's it.
Yeah.
But I think this all kind of just goes in line with what we're trying to get to right now, which is our topic of mindset. You can't create a positive mindset unless your mind is at ease.
Yeah.
And I think being able to learn these things and develop less stress on yourself, have a little bit of financial nest egg for yourself is a way to kind of create that foundation for a good mindset. So.
Yeah. Sure. Okay, so question that you can ask anybody. So let's say, okay, I did get furloughed, or I'm working from home and I'm like kind of lost, and my days are kind of just morphing into each other.
Yeah.
Because really, that's what's happening. People, for me, I lost track
of days all the time. So you see memes about the Spider-Man pointing at each other, and it's like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, all pointing.
I think last week I legit didn't know what day. I had to look at my phone. Didn't know what day it was.
And you're still working.
Yeah. It's
and you're still doing work. So
it's insane. The days just blend, right? So it's like, what are some small habits to get you going, to get you moving, so that you have that motivation to get up even when you don't have a job?
Right.
You may not have anything planned for the day.
Yeah.
Like, what are some small things that can get you moving, right? So, do you have anything that you do?
For example, I do set my alarm 7 in the morning. I have my cup of coffee. Immediately, I get on my computer and I start writing down ideas for the week, for the month, my goals in terms of what I'm going to do while I'm stuck at home now. I also write specific workouts for the week. So we are doing online courses. So for example, I will be writing a leg day exercise for us to do online, which I'll also be posting on my Instagram. We'll make sure to put links to our pages in the description. But I do post exercises for people to do throughout the week right when I wake up. I've got a fresh mind, fresh cup of coffee. And then shortly thereafter, I make breakfast. And every day is the same. Every day is the same. I'm creating that routine. I'm writing down basically my plans for the week, for the next month, and then of course, hopefully, when all of this is able to end, I'm also thinking about what I'm going to be doing when I do get back to work, and also setting up a schedule for myself to stick to it.
I think that the plan is, hopefully, we all know this is going to end when we don't know, but the idea is to kind of form these good habits so that they do bleed into regular life again when regular life happens. I think that's key. And
let's also make note that we're going to try to take like politics and things out of it, but we're just going to talk about, obviously, the current situation of what is going on and how we can kind of apply it to everything that we're doing right now. So, but anyways, I think for me, it's for someone that's unemployed right now, I think people shouldn't get so stuck on scrolling endlessly through their phone and watching Netflix all day.
It's more like a victim's thing, like, oh, poor me, what am I going to do?
What am I going to do? Yeah, exactly. And I think
that last cert, feel that emotion. By all means, that's a shitty thing that happened. By all means, feel it, but you can't let it consume your entirety of your being. You can't do that, because then you'll get nothing done, and then you're even a bigger hole, than you were before. And I think that's big. And for me, I'm still working. So. For me, I wake up. I'm a little more extreme to Adam's point. I wake up every morning at 5:30, just because I'm a morning person.
And this is to get an example of two completely different things in routines.
Yeah, so I wake up at 5:30, and I wake up in the morning. I meditate for about 5 to 10 minutes, and then I go out for a run. And for somebody else, it could be a walk. I just like to get the fresh air in the morning.
Especially here in Texas.
Yeah, I get it. It's cool. It's probably in the 60s, so it's pretty nice to run.
Right.
Yeah, just get that fresh air, a walk even. I mean, just there's nobody outside. There's no cars on the road, especially now because no one's really going anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
It's silent. It's nice. It's cool. It's calming. Just to start the day, I go for a run, come back, have a cup of coffee, shower, get ready, and then I start work. But you start the day on a good note, no matter what's happening.
Sounds like you're already awake 2 hours before you ready to start work.
Yeah, I'm ready to go. My mind's already going. I'm not rolling. And this is something that I talked to a couple friends about. They roll out of bed at 7 and hop on to work at 7:05, and it's like you didn't even give yourself time to get ready.
Wake up and have a right mind.
Yeah, just like you would if you were to be going to work.
Sure.
You wake up 40 minutes or 50 minutes, maybe an hour before you go to work. You shower, you get breakfast, and then you get to work.
Sure.
You should let that keep going. I mean, why would you stop that, roll out of bed,
right,
and hop on? It isn't.
And so
good.
You're working throughout the day, you do those things, and what do you do afterwards? So we like to go to the gym.
For us in this situation right now, it's kind of a privilege that we still get to go to the gym.
Sure. So like I mentioned, I am a coach. I do have keys to this gym. There's no more than 4 people in the gym at the time. If that, right. So yeah, as of right now with this whole virus going on, but we do have access to the gym. So we do go in and set a specific time of day that we go, which is at noon. But I'm still, as an unemployed person, creating times for myself to work on my side business.
Right.
So I own a business. My business is called Balance Fitness and Performance. For those that don't know, I will also link my Instagram page to my business there. So I do have my own business, and this is the perfect opportunity for me to really start putting time towards my business. Yeah. And I think after having the routine and all those things set up, like, what are you really going to work for, right? So for people that are furloughed and unemployed, speaking on that behalf, it's important to create something you want to do right now. I think, for me, I have my business, so starting a side hobby, doing something that's gonna, we have the time now. We're stuck here in home right now, or even for people that go home right after work at the end of the day. Of course, if you have your kids, you have your wife, you got things to attend to, certain practices to attend to. Yeah, it's gonna get in the way of that. But can you set specific routines and times for you to have an opportunity to work on those certain aspects of your life, especially if you got kids and you got your wife. If there's something that you love and there's something that you want to do, you got to learn to create time for it. And I think right now is a great time to start.
Well, the thing with that, so everyone, if you even look at the news, it's all bad. Like, everything's awful. There's more and more cases, and people are passing away, and that's sad to see. It really is. It's a lot of bad happening, but at the same time, for people that were getting burnt out at work, for people that maybe didn't like the profession they had, I mean, there's a whole lot of stuff that's happening, right? So you either got laid off, or maybe you didn't have a whole lot of time because you were consumed at work. You were working from 7 a.m. to 5:30 to 6 o'clock at night, and you're exhausted. So there's 2 different kinds of people happening there. One person that gets burnt out at work, that's either been burnt out at work, said, "Oh man, I wish I could learn. I could take my guitar playing to the next level.
Sure.
I really want to create this. Or I really
and that's the thing. It doesn't necessarily have to be starting a side business. This could be something that you want to do for a while, like learning how to play an instrument, or having time to read a certain book, or do certain things that
you want to write,
appease your mind,
create content, whatever it is. You were burnt out, but now you can actually give yourself that 8 hours or less if you're working.
Yeah.
And that time is
or even have more time to spend with your kids.
Oh yeah, it could be whatever. Yeah. And now you've been granted that time. Or if you've been furloughed or whatever it is, and you've always had either that side hobby or something else you're doing, the good that can come out of this situation, I mean, you have the time to do that. There's really no excuse for you not to. If you're sitting on your ass at home, you might as well get it done.
Yeah, and you don't necessarily have to be actively doing something. You could just have this time to research about how you can start doing something, or if there's something that you love. Say, I got a good buddy of mine who he loves fly fishing. Hell, you can learn how to learn how to fly fish. You can learn how to create nymphs. They're called nymphs that basically is created with Twine, you know, it could be literally anything. This could be time to research any sort of hobby and expand on your hobby, and then hell, even make it monetary to work on it, make it a side business. That's what you want to do.
That's the thing, man. It's like
everything can be created unique to you, and this could be the time to do it.
There's just so much. Everybody looks at you turn on Facebook or you go on Google just Google coronavirus, and it's just nothing but negative. But like people don't see the positives aspects, and that goes into mindsets. Like you can go and you can look at the negatives everywhere, and it'll just kill any sort of any sort of positivity you had. It's gonna kill it because that's all it is. Everybody just drawn to the negative. Because there's so many positive things that are happening, you're just not seeing, or you just need to train your mind to look at it differently. I mean, that's all happening. I mean, that's huge. That's all happening. I mean, that's just small habits, small things you can take a look at and do. I mean,
and even obviously with all the negativity, and I mean, there's a few good media things
here and there. I mean,
that they're talking about here and there. But that all goes back to overconsumption of certain things, and creating a negative environment for yourself that kind of puts you down, and being so scared and worried all the time instead of being optimistic.
Right.
You know, looking at this as from an optimal standpoint, not so much pessimistic, but that, hey, you know what, like this is going on right now. I have to stay home, and it's recommended for me to stay home, or even after work. I don't want to spend so much money going out and getting drinks, getting messed up with my friends. You know, I can utilize this time, look at it as a positive to do those things. So we're gonna kind of try to segue into another section. So for Elijah here, who is currently at work, if for people that are currently working or work from home or work a day job, how do you create such a positive work-life balance? Where does that all fall into place? So what are some ideas that you have?
I mean, I have a buddy of mine who I know this the other day. She called me and told me that she had guys calling her, or I mean contractors, people she worked with for her company, calling her on Saturday at 9 o'clock at night, and it's like, that's not a. What are you doing, man?
Sorry, let's get comfortable.
What do you like? It's like not a positive. That's not something that you want. You don't want to be called on a Saturday night at 9 o'clock at night. To do work. Like, and that's the thing. It's like.
And our boss is notorious for doing things like this. So.
No, and I mean I'm not speaking on my boss. This is a friend of mine that had this happen to. And it's absolutely ridiculous. It should not happen. To get called on a 9 o'clock on a Saturday. For information on something like that.
Yeah, I mean there's got to be certain.
So I mean, just something that I've taken into account. Along, and I just told everybody my routine, kind of what I do every day. I took the liberty, and like I said, I'm kind of an extremist, so this is something that not a lot of people, or probably, I mean, not a lot of people are going to do this. I took my work email entirely off my phone.
Okay.
Entirely. Just because.
But you still have the app?
No.
Oh, okay.
No,
so you took that app off.
It's gone.
I think I still have the app for work. I don't receive
it off entirely. And I took off my personal email as well. Because I saw it as a distraction away from other things that are happening. I mean, because people are like you know, daily people are scrolling through Twitter, scrolling through Facebook, scrolling through Instagram. You know, going through email is just another distraction. It's just something else.
So what do you think about people that have a higher level position where they kind of need to be attending to their phone more often? Do you think that they should have a certain schedule for those sort of things as well? Or?
So the reason why I did that is when I'm working, you know I'm here. I haven't personally relayed my schedule to my boss. I haven't done that. But like, you know, we've been doing this for 2 weeks now. I'm pretty consistent with what time I get on, what time I get off.
Sure.
And I'm not online when time I go to the gym. That's my off. That's kind of like my break, my lunch break. Yeah. So like you kind of know. But you know, the big thing I did is when I'm working, and you can contact me. I'm on my computer. My email's open.
Yeah.
Call me, email me. But when I'm away, you can't get to me because that's like, especially now more than ever, your work-life balance needs to be big. Because if not, your work, especially with some employers, and I'm not saying mine's bad, but I'm sure there are some out there that know you're at home, know you're not doing anything, and they'll call you and email you as much as throughout the day because you've got nothing else better to do, right?
For sure.
So it's like, take it off, get rid of it. So when you're working, you're not. Your personal time is your personal time, your work time is your work time.
Okay, so if that is the case, like if obviously for people that are working from home, do you think it's important to let like your employer know, like, hey, this is the exact time I'm gonna take lunch? Obviously, people have different schedules,
Right.
9 to 5, 8 to, 8 to
I'm
4.
sure that'd be productive.
So
maybe I should do that.
but I'm saying like,
Maybe I should.
when you're working from home, like, and you're getting phone calls throughout the day, say you're at lunch, like, do you think it would be important for you to message your
I'm
boss
sure
to let him know, like,
do that.
this is my schedule, so I'm gonna take my lunch?
Yeah. Well, for me, especially with our company, we're pretty lenient on that.
Yeah.
I mean, even when we were at the office, we pretty much did whatever the hell we wanted to do, as long as work got done.
Right.
For her in
Which is how I
particular,
think it
right?
should be, but
Well, how it should be.
That's another topic.
But for her in particular, she has to take the lunch in the lunch break. Like they're required to be online at 7:15 and they clock off. It's the same thing.
you're talking about like people that clock in.
Yeah,
clock
so
out.
like you're saying like, oh, should they tell their boss? Like normally,
Gotcha.
for people, there are
Gotcha.
people that have that
But I think, well, yeah,
at leisure, and there's a lot of people that don't. So it really just depends on your situation. If you are in our situation, yeah, it probably would be beneficial to tell your boss.
Right.
If you're not, you're pretty much on that set schedule. You got to kind of figure it out
Okay.
as you go. But I mean, work-life balance, especially now, it's huge. Because I mean, if you're consumed by work, if you were consumed by work before being in the office and it's taking you and it's following you home, now your work is in your home.
Yeah.
You really have to learn how to.
And I also think, like, if that's the case, and this is something that you just thoroughly don't enjoy doing,
Mhm.
it shouldn't be something that you want to run with forever.
No.
Of course, like, this can be a very, very, very long discussion that we hope that we can actually get into later on. But of course, if this is something you don't like taking home with you, if you don't like continuously worrying about your job or worrying about what someone's going to tell you to do, or hell, being scared that your job is going to be put on hold because you're furloughed, like I am, like, I think it's important, like, that you do take this time after work, or if with this current situation going on right now, that you're working towards something that you want to do.
Mhm.
But like I said, it's a whole other segue into a huge topic
That's
that we'll definitely get into later on. But yeah, I think going back onto what we're saying, it's just being able to schedule specific times for certain
things.
day job work, especially as a young person. Starting off, like, I think it's important to create less stress for yourself, because those jobs are easily replaceable.
Oh yeah. I saw this tweet the other day, dude, and this is huge. It's like you find out, and like, our company, notorious for this. You find out how a company is really run, how its moral is run, by how they handle this situation right now.
Yeah.
I mean, it speaks volumes.
And it's crazy because, we were in the same room and we were told that people were being put on hold, and there was just zero sympathy for the workers.
Yeah, and to be honest, I'm not gonna
no name
touch on that, no, but I personally believe there was a better way to handle that.
Absolutely.
Do I think
No question.
that this all came on really fast and really quickly, and it was a very big game time?
Of course, it had to have been.
You knew
it had to be.
Yeah,
it had to be.
Because this whole coronavirus thing really escalated pretty quickly.
Well, it did.
It really did, and that's a whole other thing. But yeah, you should take note of how your employer is treating you during this time.
Yeah.
You take Crystals for sure. How that's happening.
Yeah.
That's tough. But then again, that's a whole nother branch of employment. That's a whole nother career choice.
Yeah, it is.
That's something different.
Yeah.
Like
we're doing desk work, so it's...
Yeah, and that's hands on. That's military, so that's a little. I think they'd be held to a higher standard.
Of course.
But like
depending
my brother,
on the work, of course.
My brother. I think the fact that
And that's not even
that's a service injury.
And they're not even providing Crystal with hazard pay.
No, hazard pay. That's a mess.
Well, and that's the thing.
But then, like, what is hazard pay? What is?
It's basically going off and doing work.
But is that? What? But what if the price? So like, let's just say you're getting is for somebody who makes $40,000 a year, which is pretty common, $40,000 to $50,000 a year. Let's say you are a service person and you have to be out and you're essential.
Right.
What would you consider to be a decent amount of pay?
That's up to the business
or to the individual, really, but like,
or government, which in her case is the government determining these choices because Red Bull is on hazard pay, all states on hazard pay. We know that some other businesses are hazard pay, whereas my girlfriend Crystal, she's doing work as an athletic trainer, working on the front lines with trainees, and there's hundreds of, if not thousands of trainees, that could potentially be infected, especially at Lackland, which is basically ground zero for us here in San Antonio. It all just really boils down to who you work for how this whole situation is being handled, how that affects the way you appease your mind, develop less stress in your life, and all those things. Okay, so and also segueing off of that, we're not going to strictly talk about business. We're also going to talk about mindset for students. So, and students, of course, if you're in college or in high school, or however old you are, it's important to create a balance there as well. So work-life balance doesn't necessarily mean work, like day work at a desk job, but it also means with your schoolwork. So for students, teachers, staff, how can you create an environment where
teachers haven't really stopped, man. Like they're still
exactly
they're still teaching. So their lives really, besides the fact that they're literally working from home. So
right.
Lives haven't really stopped.
So for students, what if you moved to college? What were some of the things that you did to kind of develop a?
Well, our college lives were very different.
What do you mean? In what sense?
I didn't have a whole lot of free time to do stuff. So
because you're playing sports,
right?
So as a sport person, as a baseball player.
I'm gonna be honest. My free time, the little bit of free time that I did have here and there between classes, was spent with Netflix. There wasn't very much. So
okay. So knowing what you know now, would that be something that you would have done?
No.
How would you do it differently?
I would have actually I honestly would have taken my academics a lot more seriously.
Why is that?
I just think that for me, traveling all the time and not taking that seriously. Mm-hmm. I didn't take it the right way.
But you're also a kid.
I was a kid. I was 21 years old when I was playing. And 22.
It was like a few years ago.
It was still, but at the time, it seemed like fuck school. I don't need to do this. Mm-hmm. But at the time, now that I look back on it, there was so much I could have been doing to benefit myself. Mm-hmm. That's what I think. People now. My sister, prime example. They just, if they're not at school, they're watching Netflix.
Yeah.
And eating. And it's like, hey, dude.
And especially since the gym is kind of taken away from
people.
Is
closed.
Now people are really not doing any sort of exercise.
Yeah, man. I think that's huge. And it pisses people off because you can only do so much. You can only run so much. Yeah. Granted, I have seen a good amount of people. A lot more people outside. A good amount of people walking around outside. So people are getting outside, I think, because they're just losing their minds inside. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know, dude. But this is just a crazy time.
It is.
So what do you do? So I know you don't watch as much Netflix.
I do watch TV. Of course, most of my free time, like I said, is writing programs for people. Mm-hmm. It is developed around, it centralizes around fitness.
Yeah.
Of course, many people are doing things at home.
Yeah.
Exercises at home, bodyweight exercises at home. And of course, I post a lot of things regarding certain exercises that people can do. And of course, if there's anybody that needs help with that, Elijah does fitness things too now, as well as myself. But I think, being active, doing those things at home, and actually getting yourself up is going to create a better environment for you to kind of create a base layer foundation for other things that are affected positively.
Oh yeah, that's and even before all this happened, the idea of getting out and doing something physical, at least for 20 minutes a day, is proven to up your mood and your mental health. That's that's not a stigma. That's a real thing. People, that's been studied. That's been proven. Mm-hmm. The more active you are, the more.
We can go on and on. Fitness is the pinnacle of being able to, the health thing. Yes, but it's very cliche, but it's true.
No, yeah.
For me, fitness has always been the base layer foundation to living a less stressful life. Why is that? Because I work out, right? That leads to me being able to make progress better. So I try to make myself eat cleaner. Mm-hmm. I'm more tired throughout the day because I exercise, so I get better rest at night. Everything just kind of segues into developing better choices into this one giant pyramid of things that ultimately you want to try to reach as much as possible. But obviously, like, you want to have the mindset first before you start all of these things, right? You always want to have that not perfect, but, relatively good mindset to start exercising or start this hobby or start this business.
And that's what I meant earlier.
And this is exactly why we're talking about it.
Yeah,
so
there's a lot of things that you can do to benefit your time in this spot. And this is gonna, we all know, I mean, you can be optimistic, you can be pessimistic, like this is gonna last a little while, I think.
Yeah.
So you might as well make the most of your time here.
Right.
And it's like, create and just do, man. Like, I mean, you're just sitting at home, what are you doing? What are you accomplishing?
Yeah, and it's important to research people, and it's important to talk about it the way we are now, as people that have not necessarily reached the top, but people that have started kind of this routine.
And then anything, we're just having a conversation. That's what I'm saying. Like, it's so much better.
And that's what I'm saying. I think it's important for people in our position to relate to our conversation about this stuff because
it's happening. Like, it seemed
people are trying to figure out where to start.
To be quite honest, like, this was such everybody. You can go on and you can see countless people giving their opinion on Twitter and like, oh, this is a
podcast, YouTube.
Yeah, Gary Vee's legit having a whole thing every morning that talks about what to do right now when you're sitting at home. But it's like, it's not really real because those things are happening like up there. It's not really real. Like, this is something that like it didn't feel real to me until that call when everybody got furloughed. It didn't seem real. That like hit and like that's like, okay, this actually happening.
It was a weight off your back when you
not even a weight. It was just like wow, like, this is actually, I've never actually seen something like this happen. Mm-hmm. And it may have happened. It may be like you hear your parents talking about like 2008 when like shit hit the fan and everybody was like unemployed and shit.
Well, we were kids, man.
I know.
8th grade.
And like you're like, wow, that's kind of wild. But like now it's happening and you're like old enough to like sit here and see what's happening.
I don't even think this is something that has like we haven't legitimately been put on like an at-home order.
No,
ever.
I didn't think this actually existed.
No.
You hear at-home order and you freak the fuck out.
Yeah, exactly. People start losing their minds in general.
I thought like I was gonna.
We can't even be told about aliens because of this crap. Because think about it, aliens.
What?
No, I'm serious. Like, I don't think people are ready to hear that aliens exist.
And this is a perfect on Twitter.
No, this is the perfect. No, seriously, it's a perfect example. People would legit lose their minds if they found out that aliens were real. Like the government legitimately said aliens exist. We'd be screwed.
They do exist.
But you know what I mean?
I know, man. Like people are freaking out over this. Like I think that this could have been handled if media.
Well, yeah, media, dude,
blew this thing up.
Yeah, of course.
Just just annihilated it.
They want views, man. What do you expect to happen?
Clickbait.
Oh yeah. And then, not to mention the fact that we don't really know what's going on.
You want to be honest? I have no idea what the coronavirus even is at this point.
I mean, we know what it is.
No, you don't.
But the numbers.
You don't. You don't really know. I think that there's been so much, shit spread about the coronavirus that I personally, I don't know. Is it pneumonia? Is it?
Oh yeah, I did hear about that.
Is it?
Well, no, it's supposed to transition into pneumonia.
So it's every sickness you've ever thought of. Apparently, it gives you the shits.
That's like 10% of people, though.
I'm telling you, man, I've seen so much shit that I don't even know what it is at this point.
Yeah,
maybe it's.
That's why people are freaking out about allergies.
And I'm not discrediting this thing because there's people out there that have actually been affected by this.
Yeah,
and have lost loved ones. By all means, but
this is not.
I'm not discrediting it at all. I'm not. I just, for me personally, not being affected by this, and thank God none of my family members or any close friends or relatives have had this thing yet. Mm-hmm. I don't know what it is, because I've legit seen people that say it's nothing. I've seen people say, oh, it's the worst thing I've ever occurred. I've seen people say, fuck, I had it, and I didn't even know I had it. Yeah. And it's just like you've seen so many different things.
Not to mention, literally, all the numbers are incorrect from like Johns Hopkins.
You got shit all over the place.
We don't know.
You just saw this thing that came out yesterday that said the death rate was less than it was before. So what is this thing?
And this all really just falls back onto your consumption with overconsumption with media.
Yeah.
And so I think it really we're going full circle here, but
I went off on a tangent.
Realistically,
bro, that was so real. I don't know what it is.
Realistically, this is what happens. This is what happens when we overconsume.
And the amount of like anxiety in people, this is just sparking it to a whole other level because they're just like, fuck, what is this thing? Is it gonna kill me? Do I have it? I probably have it. Like I'm serious. People, remember I got sick like a week ago, and I was like, fuck, I had it. I literally had it.
But that was like a week before it actually spread.
It doesn't matter.
But
I had all the symptoms. Recovered fully.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah, people are freaking out.
I mean, so
that's how powerful media, overconsumption of technology or everything you're reading online, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram.
That's like that thing you sent me about the swine flu.
Yeah.
How many people that killed, and it's by far outnumbered.
And think about that. Think about where social media was at that time.
It's non-existent.
Well, it was existed.
In 2008, I don't even think Twitter existed.
Well, no, I'm saying like MySpace was existed. So it was like slowly. But think about how little it affected us, right? We weren't so much watching TV when we were kids, right? So we weren't freaking out as much, but it was also the fact that we weren't over-consuming on social media every single day. Of course, like if you're a business owner and you're running your social media profiles and you have to be on social media to talk to people, interact with people, all those sorts of things, that's important. Of course.
So you want to know something crazy? So something, and this goes back to like my small habits that I do so I don't lose my shit.
Mm-hmm.
I limit my social media consumption to 30 minutes a day, right? Which is extremely hard.
Do you use like a timer or like?
No. So there's an app on your screen on things that like I check at the end of the day.
Oh, it's on the To Do app.
No, this has nothing to do with the To Do app. On your phone, there's a thing that says screen time.
Oh yeah,
it'll tell you how much you spend on social networking. Mm-hmm. So like I personally turned off all my notifications for all my social medias.
Yeah.
So that I don't overconsume, and I'm not on there for dumb amounts of time. Yeah. So like I post, in the morning I'll schedule out my post, I'll post it. Yeah. And that way I'm not on it all day long, and I'm not consuming a bunch of junk, a bunch of shit.
And you know what? Even developing a post as someone that's a business owner and developing social media posts, it takes a lot of time.
Well, I mean, yeah.
It takes work, and
it's tough. If you want to do it right, because anybody can just mindlessly post shit.
Right. But if you legitimately want to post something that's like gonna attract people and get people's attention, like it takes time.
Yeah. But I mean, what I was going with that was like, so like, people think, and this is like such a now thing. Like, I took a detox of social media like last year for like a month.
I remember that.
And I thought, and everybody thought that like, oh, you're gonna lose all your followers. I'm like, oh, no one's gonna, like, you have no friend, like, you're not gonna talk to anybody. It's that, number one, I didn't give a fuck. I didn't care. Yeah. The second thing was, like, being without social media, people can't fathom that idea.
Yeah, I know.
And especially for people like you that have a business that runs like specifically through social media, through online internet, you would think that like, oh my god, I can't go without it because that's how I run my business. And like partially sure, but like it's not always true, man.
Yeah, I mean, even as a business owner and even as
it's such a
small business owner, mind you, you know, you can still limit your time. Like I said, I do spend a majority of my day posting things about programs and doing stuff I want to do, and you know, creating a relationship with my family and being with my family and those sort of things. Like, I don't spend a majority of my time on social media, mindlessly scrolling.
Honestly, I thought I was happier.
Yeah.
And more like I was just like more.
I believe it. I mean, you're not so consumed in.
I was more like
stuff that
open. Like
doesn't matter.
I've never been to like a restaurant with somebody and like not like been on my phone.
Yeah.
I could legitimately go like this, and like it's wild to think, but people can't fathom that. Like, it's crazy to think something that I honestly, if you haven't done it before, I'd give it a shot. Give it a try.
Give it a try.
Just to see what happens. Like, now might be a little harder because there's not a whole lot happening.
But I think if you don't have any reason to be on social media, I think you should give yourself a break from it.
Yeah.
I totally think that's a great idea.
Definitely beneficial.
And I know that you probably heard that a billion times, but
yeah, it's so cliche.
For someone that's actually done it.
I've done it for a month and a half.
I can't say that I personally done it just because I had to post things like frequently, but
I mean now I'm posting.
Right, but
I'm kind of trying to
at that point in time,
but
before,
I had nothing going on.
Yeah.
I was simply like just like looking at people do shit all day long, and I just was over it.
Yeah.
I just like, I'm just gonna give it a break.
And if you're eliminating that thing that's bothering you, or not bothering you, but you're putting a lot of time to, this will open up
copious
amounts of times to do things that you actually want to do.
Yeah. Like, I mean,
and not just fryer brain fucking looking at a screen all day, you know? Like, I think it's such, or even if you were to be online, you're online looking at things that are applicable and helping you, benefiting you, more so than just mindlessly scrolling through things that just don't matter. Yeah, I think. Yeah, I think that's really an important aspect of creating, you know, that for you, you know. I think that's important to do. So.
You know, I think all in all, there's a lot of ways to handle the situation, and there's definitely the wrong way. But there's a lot of small things you can do throughout the day to make the days go by quicker, to actually add purpose and meaning to it.
For sure.
I mean, that's the number one thing, because if you're going about life without like purpose or like meaning, and you're just rolling out of bed, hopping on a computer, and especially for those people who actually fucking hate their job.
Yeah, and doing like this short-term, instant gratification thing. I've done this, now's the time to watch TV. Instead of actually slowly developing something that you can start from the ground up and actually develop something that you want to do.
You know what everything that is? It's like people, like, they don't, like, and I'm not speaking in, like, I'm speaking generally, because this was the hardest thing for me, is like, yeah, we're starting this now, and you could fucking go to the shit real quick.
Yeah.
But, like, just do it, bro.
It gives you, but yeah, you're doing it, but it gives you an opportunity to really speak.
No, that, and to create, it's just like, just do it. That's like the biggest thing, is like, people are like, man, I bought that guitar fucking 5 months ago.
Yeah.
Never touched it, because I didn't have time.
Mm-hmm.
I thought I was going to have all this time. Didn't have time.
Yeah.
And now you have all the time's there, but they're just like, nah, fuck it.
Yeah.
I don't want to do it.
Yeah.
It's like, why not? Like, what else are you doing?
What are you waiting for?
Tiger King is over.
Tiger King.
The Tiger King's over, bro.
Yeah.
It's over. I don't even know what happened and what.
I know what happened because of how it's on social media.
It's on Twitter.
Yeah, it's on Twitter.
I still don't know what happened. I've heard like all the time.
I just know some guy got eaten by a tiger, or apparently got eaten.
I just saw earlier that they reopened the case. I don't know.
That's media consumption.
And that could be completely off. I don't know, because Twitter's ridiculous, but
yeah,
I just think there's a lot. I mean, for right now, the best thing to do is to keep your mind off negativity and keep it positive, and just do something.
Do something that you like.
Do something like better for yourself every day.
Mm-hmm.
So one thing I was gonna ask you, I forgot I was gonna ask you earlier. So like your goals, you set your goals daily, right?
Yeah.
It's not like something that you set out long term.
I mean, I do long-term stuff, but I also create short-term goals for the week. Like I was saying before, I do short-term things that I need to complete.
Right.
That ultimately end up becoming a long-term goal over time. Cool. Yeah.
I mean, I just I think the biggest thing, which is crazy, is people are so scared. What the thing that drives fear of this whole thing is uncertainty.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, for sure.
Uncertainty, like they don't know what's gonna happen tomorrow. This thing could kill us all, and people are freaking out. I'm not saying that's gonna happen, but that could happen, right?
Yeah.
This thing could just morph into killing it.
Or not to mention the fact that this is the only job you've got.
Yeah, and it's like, well, what happens?
And that's the only paycheck you have.
This goes away. What
do you do?
Right?
Yeah, for sure.
Which is insane.
So I think it's important for people to create things that they have that they can fall back on.
Which
is a whole other topic. But
going back to your goal setting, it's like people are freaking the fuck out over uncertainty.
Right.
That's the big killer here. They don't know what's happening, so they're freaking out. Right. Mm-hmm. The whole thing is people create these fucking big goals. Like, I'm gonna do this by I'm 25. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do this. And this thing right here just fucked it all up.
Yeah.
So they've lost their mind. A lot of anxiety and depression is kicking in right now because like they've had these goals set up. But like people set goals. Like for me, I learned
people are just at a standstill right now.
Right. So for me, like this is something that I learned like not too long ago, and it's like making goals I'm not saying you shouldn't make goals, but you should you should know what you want to do, but you can't sit here and like worship those goals and like if it doesn't happen, you're gonna lose your shit.
Right.
Like you have to like the goal, like what you just said, how you do little stuff and they ultimately build into the big thing.
Right.
People don't do that. They set like this massive thing, and it either motivates them to do it, and then one thing goes awry, and they lose it all. Like they just completely fall off, and they lose it. But the idea is, like you said, you do these little things every day, which is why I have that little to-do list, and you get shit done every day. That's attainable and reasonable. And like
within your scope.
Within your scope.
That you know what you can do from yourself.
Right. And then that builds and builds and builds and builds
right.
to these bigger goals.
Right.
Rather than I'm just going to do that, and then one thing happens, one thing leads to another. You never.
And then you just completely cut it off forever.
Right. It's like.
That applies to all of life.
Yeah,
as we know it.
Everything.
Like, things aren't gonna go the way they're supposed to.
But if you
they're not.
Like they're not. And that's just like
and we
so
can
uncertain.
Speak to that level of
like,
truthfulness. Like right now, I had no idea that this was gonna happen. All of a sudden, I don't have a paycheck. Of course, I'm not gonna let that completely overconsume and depress me. Like I'm preoccupying my mind with things I've always wanted to do.
Right. Because
time that I can actually apply working towards what I ultimately want to do in my life. And instead of preoccupying myself with fear, worriness, anxiety, depression, and
that shit'll keep you inside, bro. You won't go
exactly.
Do anything. You'll just be shuttered. You'll be shut.
And that literally all comes down to overconsumption of these things, rather than actually preoccupying your mind with something that ultimately benefits you.
Yeah. No. So it's like if you just be better every day at something. Like goal. I want to run a marathon, but I'm severely overweight.
Yeah.
But my goal is to do this thing.
Yeah.
This thing. I want to run a marathon, right? Mm-hmm. Rather than saying, "Fuck, dude, I can't run a marathon. It's too much. I can't do it." Run a mile every day. That's a pretty attainable goal.
Yeah.
Because you can get out, whether it's in the morning, walk a mile. Just get out there and do it. If you walk a mile, or if let's say you run a mile every day for 2 months, you don't think you're one step closer. You're one step closer. You're one step closer to then. Hey, maybe in 6 months, you can run that half marathon. You run that marathon. It's just being better every day and setting goals that are attainable, and you're self-aware of who you are. That's how you beat that. Because making goals that are outside that are just not attainable, or they're just like way out there, it's silly, dude.
And this isn't meant to be some sort of motivational speaking.
No, this is just
thing. This is literally just a conversation amongst two normal people, 24 years old, working day jobs, working towards things we want to do, starting a podcast about, this conversation amongst people that ultimately can relate to us.
Yeah.
Because we're doing it right now.
Yeah, I'm like,
you're seeing what we're doing right now that helps us as people that are not, for people that are already successful, they have that drive already. They're already there. They're earning money. They're earning freedom. They're earning time. They're working with people all the time. They've got it set up.
Yeah.
And of course, researching and learning from those people are great. I do it all the time. I always watch YouTube. For instance, Graham Stephan is a great guy I watch on YouTube. He ultimately talks about financial planning and saving, all those sorts of things that we'll eventually get into later on. But right now, you're seeing episode number 1. You're seeing and hearing something that we've always wanted to start.
Yeah, and we're doing it
because we never had the time to, but we're doing it now.
Yeah.
And this is a prime example of it. We're normal people. We're just slowly starting our lives. We're just got out of college. Or if you haven't gone to college at all, you're still young. We're all still in the same spot, and we shouldn't look at each other as a race or a chance to be better than somebody else. This is simply a conversation amongst two normal people, sparking a debate, not so much a debate, but a conversation about life right now.
Yeah. It's
a completely new level of societal thinking that we want and hope to establish with our kids later on, if we have kids.
Just in general, dude, people can I think these are some common things that people want
and need to hear,
but they don't know how to do it.
Yeah, and they need to hear it from two normal people like us, right, instead of someone that's all the way up there already obtainable.
Prime example, dude, my brother. Granted, he can be a little vain sometimes, but he needs a lot of guys. Anybody that young, and I wish I knew who Gary Vee was or Grant Cardone, all those guys.
Yeah.
I wish I knew I could listen to somebody like that. My mind was preoccupied with this shit. That's fine. But people that young think they know it all. Mm-hmm. And I'm not saying I know shit because I don't.
And that's not to say that's all young people or bad people that age, but just in general.
Using my brother as an example, right? I show him hey dude, Gary Vee said this thing, you should check it out. Well, it's easy for him to say he's got a lot of money, he's rich.
Yeah.
Which is the same. It's the same. Number one, it's closed-minded, but the second thing is that's true.
That can affect relationships and people and being with people later on in life.
But it's he's got a lot of money. Yeah. It's not true. I'm yeah, dude. Okay, so maybe you're gonna want to hear it from that guy, but I'm seriously sitting and telling you, I'm doing these things, and I'm seeing benefits. Like me setting goals every day has helped my productivity. All these things happening, like me putting my phone at the end of my bed, so I have to get up every morning. Little stuff that I do every day that just help me feel better, like limiting social media and reading a book. I like trying to read 2 chapters a day, not gluing my face to the TV with Netflix and all that stuff, YouTube, like just doing little things throughout the day to like benefit, especially in this time right now. Yeah. Just to have a better outlook.
Yeah, having positivity, having the outlook.
It's so cliche, but it's so true. Like
it's true.
Try it.
Yeah, it's what ultimately drives me to continue to work towards things like this podcast, to work towards my workout programs, to work, to posting on social media, to help people out, or and there's lots of plans that we ultimately have, and I think, right now this is going on. This is a perfect opportunity to take advantage of that, but also when this does go back to normal, hopefully soon or whenever, hopefully soon. This is, just because you're going back into the office or going back to school in person or doing all those things, don't forget why you started or why you thought that or why you felt that you needed to do something. Go back on that and realize like you're still young, no matter what age you are, you still have an opportunity to do it, and put yourself in a position to where you can be successful and you can do things that you ultimately want to do. Because I think
we're still trying to figure that out, but like these are things.
Of course, but these are things that we need to ultimately talk about.
Yeah.
And discuss as people that are trying to figure these things out. And the reason why we chose mindset as number 1 is because that's where it starts.
Oh yeah.
Ultimately, that's where it starts.
That's where it begins.
That's and of course we'll get into other things about how to create that foundation and continuously push that mindset and have consistent, positive, optimistic, positive mindset. It all starts with what you do when you wake up.
Yes.
And ultimately, I think that's.
I read that making your bed every morning.
Yeah,
I don't know if that's true, but I make
sure. You can do whatever the hell you want.
Just like little things. If you want to wake
little
up
things.
and knock out 50 push-ups just because it feels good in the morning. Knock out.
If that's what you want to do, man. Hell, you don't even have to do that. Like, I don't do 50 pushes in the morning. I don't make my bed in the morning, but I do set an alarm and have a specific routine that I ultimately go up and do that gets the rest of my day going. And I think of myself as I constantly remind myself that I've got my entire life to do this. My entire life. And if I am continuously doing it up until I'm 60 years old, I'm going to continue to do it. That's just my mindset. And that all comes from not only hearing other people talk about it that were in the same position, but also doing my research, and hearing other people talk about it, not consuming or my time with the media or watching Netflix, but listening to successful people talk, as well as people that are trying to become successful talk, and having that positive, uplifting conversation. I think that's ultimately what has driven me to want to do something like this, talk about something like this, start a business, build relationships with people, build my business. All these sorts of things. It all starts from somewhere, and that somewhere is your mind.
No, I thought it was great. Just doing this because I was one of those people that thought I knew everything. Like positivity, that shit doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
Until my life went to like shit for a while, for like a year, and then I was like, you gotta make some sort of change because this is not just like me thinking I know it all and me just kind of going about my days like meaningless. It's not working. Yeah. Like it's just not working. Like there's just like you're not finding joy in things. Like
right.
You gotta switch something up because this rut is just not it.
Yeah. And if something isn't working for you, switch it up.
Oh, switch it up.
Do something different.
And that's what I had to do, and that's when I started looking into all these people and like looking into these mindsets, and I started actually picking up a book and reading it because I thought, I don't need to. Alright guys, thanks for watching. Unfortunately our battery died at the end of the video, but we'll be making sure to upload videos Tuesdays and Thursdays, so be sure to tune in and then check out our social media pages at the Common Ground Podcast. We'll see you next time.